Hi, welcome to week 5 of the Brown County Public Library Summer Reading Program, and I have with me today my good friend James Blakeley, and we brought along Piglet and Gigi here, and we are exploring Illinois and some of the great things that you can do outdoors here in Illinois. And Mr. James has got a great program for you here today, and we thank him for coming and being part of our summer reading. And we are at the Mount Sterling Lake. And so this is a great spot here to come in Brown County and check out what things there are. He's going to talk to you about boating and fishing and boat safety. And also you can camp. You can come out here and walk. There's a playground. So this is a great place. So get your parents to bring you out. And so hope you enjoy James with his sons today. And remember that the Brown County Public Library is open for all the services. Remember to get your reading logs. They have some up there for you, printed out. Reach out to me with my email, or you can call my phone, email me, text, and I will get it to you. And remember, reach out to us, and we want to hear from you and know that your summer's going good and you're still reading, and that you're safe. And so we would love to hear from you anytime you want to respond about any of our programs or just to say hey. So thanks again and keep tuning in.
Hello, my name is James Blakeley, and I'm an Illinois Conservation Police Officer, and I've been doing this job for about 20 years. I started up in northern Illinois around Chicago, so that was about in 2000. Did that for 7 years, and then I got to move down to Brown County, Illinois, where we are right now. A conservation police officer makes sure that everything is safe for you basically outside. We enforce all the hunting rules, the fishing rules, the boating rules, and the state parks. So we make sure it's safe and people are following the rules. And we're regular police officers, so we can enforce any and every law in the state of Illinois. And that's why I have a gun, extra bullets, handcuff, pepper spray, and a baton. So that's why I have all this Batman belt stuff on to help protect myself and, more importantly, protect you. But you might be asked, I always ask this question, what my most important weapon or tool is that I have. And some people say it's my gun, and it's not. Some people say it's extra bullets. When you use the gun, you might be out. It's not. Or handcuffs, or pepper spray, or my baton. Those aren't the most important tools that I have. The most important tool that I have is the same tool that you have, and that's my brain, on how I talk to people, how I treat people, and how I interact with them. And that's how I get people to do what I ask them to do. So, and the way you make your brain stronger is you exercise it by reading books. So that's why we have this summer program to help you maybe read some more books, go different places, and do different things. Because it's been a long time since we've been in school. So, and in saying that, this whole pandemic thing, my boys got into fishing more. And they came to me and wanted to buy a little boat so they could go to the little ponds and go fishing. So they did the research, and we located a boat, and we purchased one. So these are my boys, Eli and Gabe, and this is the boat that we purchased. Found it on Facebook Marketplace, and around Peoria. We went up there and took a look at it, and we bought it. So go ahead, guys, and get out, and we'll show the parts of the boat that you need to have. And if you're born after 1998, you have to take a boat safety class. So, and you can do that online, and that's good enough. And Gabe went online, and he took the course. How long did it take you to do, Gabe? Turn and face the camera.
About 2 days.
2 days to do. So you can start it and stop it, and do it at your own pace. And Eli's up the next couple weeks. He's going to do it as well. So that way he can go out out by himself if he wants to do that. But when you take that course, they talk about boat safety, and we're going to talk about the parts of the boat that you have to have, the type of equipment you have to have. So go ahead and move those fishing poles for me, would you, Eli? Gabe? We don't have to worry about it. All right? So there's a battery right here. Oh, you got them on there. So your battery has to be covered and secured. So that lid covers it too, but those red and black cover the positive and negative terminal, and there's a strap across there. Kind of wiggle it around a little bit, Gabe. See, it won't, no, the battery itself.
Oh, this one?
Yeah, so it won't move, so it won't shift. So our battery's covered and secured, and then also in that plastic bag, we have a whistle. So any motorboat, either gas or electric, we have a whistle. So you have to have a sounding device, a horn or a whistle. So this covers it. And our boat was stored in a garage. It's a 1997 boat. So it hadn't been registered for a while. So we had to get new numbers and letters for it that were on the side. And then we had to fill out an application through the state. And we have our temporary permit. And it's supposed to have a registration sticker on there, but the one we had was so old, so we have to get a new one, and the DNR will send that to us. We mailed it off, and we keep this application for a 120-day temporary permit. That way, if I come check your boat and you don't have registration on it, you can show it to me, and it shows that you've applied for it, and you'll be fine. Okay? And then we also have a pamphlet in here of all of the rules, in case he forgets what they are. We have an idea what we're doing. Okay, so go ahead and shut the battery. And ours is an electric motor, so we don't need a fire extinguisher. But if you had a gas motor, you would have to have a fire extinguisher, because you could have an explosion and you need a fire extinguisher to put it out. That way you don't jump overboard in the water. You'll have a fire extinguisher to put it out. So, and we also, they're wearing their life jackets. So you have to have a PFD for each person that is on board, okay? And they're old enough, they don't have to wear it, but I make them wear it, because what if they fall out and hit their head? That way they'll still be floating. So you have to have a wearable life jacket. It has to be Coast Guard approved, which those are. And if you're 12 or under, you have to wear it at all times when the boat's moving. But if you're over 12, you don't have to wear it. It just has to be in the boat. It has to be a certain size. And our boat is too short, so we don't need the Type 4 seat cushion thing. So if your boat's 14 feet or over, you gotta have that. So that's the type of safety equipment that we need. Battery needs to be covered and secured. The most important thing are the life jackets, okay? And the horn or whistle. Gabe took that class, so I'm gonna put him on the spot. And they talked about boat nomenclature, know the parts of the boat. So that was a question. So the starboard, what's the starboard side of the boat, Gabe?
It would be the right side.
The right side, okay. What's the port side of the boat?
It would be the left side.
The left, okay. What's the back of the boat called?
The bow.
No,
the stern.
you're wrong.
The
You
stern.
need to take the class over again, you fail. What's the back of the boat called?
Stern.
Stern. What's the front of the boat?
The bow.
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 The bow. It's not a bow, it's a bow.
Bow.
Okay. And our boat is equipped with lights, so we could run it at night, actually. And what color of light is on the starboard side?
Green.
Green. What color of light is on the port side?
Red.
Red. And then you'll also need an all-round white light that goes in the back that you can see 360 degrees. But that's only at night, so we don't have to have that during the day. You can see they have oars because the battery could go dead. So you need to roll yourself back in. So always make them take an oar. Because the other day your battery was starting to die, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yep,
it died.
so you had something to get you back in. Okay, and they also have an anchor in there in case they want to stop and they can anchor their boat. They also have a live well in there, so you caught a few fish, didn't you?
Yes.
I think Eli
I
caught
caught
the
them.
fish. Yep. So what do you got in there?
A tiny bluegill and I think what was it, a 9-inch bass?
Okay. There you go. So is that A legal fish is the bluegill is legal to catch because there's no limits, right?
Correct.
So you can go ahead and throw him back because that's probably a female because it's got real dull colors.
Yep.
Okay. And this bass, you measured it. You see they got, they measured that out so they know different lengths, and they also have a tape measure. They better have a tape measure in there to measure the length of their fish. Do you?
It's in the truck.
It's in the truck, so that doesn't do you any good in the truck. So you got to have that equipment with you. So go ahead and throw the fish back. Okay. Go ahead and put it back. We're not going to keep it. So there are fish out here at Mount Sterling Lake. And what?
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not, he didn't catch any, but old Eli did,
Yep.
right? Okay, good job, Eli. You take after your father. He takes after his mother. But there's a sign right back there, and we'll go because I can't remember right off the top of my head what the limits are. So we'll walk up there. And whenever you go to a state site or a different lake, you always need to stop and take a look at what the different rules are because each lake will have different rules. And at this boat launch is a good place to have the rules. And you can read up here what the limits are. So these are the fishing regulations. 2 pole and line only. So each person has 2 poles. Catfish need to be 8 inches long and you can only catch 6 per day. Larger smallmouth bass is 12 to 15 inches are protected slot limit, no possession. So the biologist said that that length between 12 and 15 are protected because they tend to spawn more and have more eggs and produce more baby fish. So he wants to protect those. And then you can only catch 6. So you can keep anything under 12 and you can keep anything over 15. But between 12 and 15, you gotta let go. So that bass that Gabe caught, or Eli caught, that was 9 inches, he could have kept it if he wanted to. And then you go on to the other regulations, there's no swimming or bathing, wading, electric trolling motors only, which that's what we have, and tells you different rules. And we also needed to get a boat sticker for Mount Sterling Lake, and I think you can get an annual pass for $25. Or there's a drop box if you just want to come here for one day, you can put $2 or $3. It says up there what the fee is, and you just put it in there. So whenever you go somewhere, make sure you know the rules, what fishing regulations are, and if you have to pay a fee to launch your boat, okay? And always make sure you have your boating safety equipment, especially your life jackets, because they'll save your life. Okay, so now it's the favorite part of the reading time, is reading a book, okay? You might see me swat a few bugs, but that's what you get when you work outside. So you saw my 2 boys, Gabe and Eli, and I also have Lizzie that's at home. And the favorite book that I always read to them was A Giraffe and a Half by Shel Silverstein. So that's the book that I'm going to read to you guys. And I think I've read it every year that I've done this, or just about. So here you go. If you had a giraffe and stretched him another half, you would have a giraffe and a half. If he put on a hat and inside lived a rat, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat. If you dressed him in a suit and he looked very cute, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit. If you glued a rose to the tip of his nose, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose. If a bumbly old bee stung him right on the knee, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee. If he put on a shoe and then stepped in some glue, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe. If you gave him a flute and he played tooty toot, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute. If he used a chair to comb his hair, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair. If he tripped on a snake who was eating some cake, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in his suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair and a snake eating cake. If he found an old trunk and inside lived a skunk, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair and a snake eating cake and a skunk in a trunk. He's got a lot going on right here. If he met a fat dragon who sat in a wagon, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in his suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair and a snake eating cake and a skunk in a trunk and a dragon in a wagon. If he jumped on a bike and rode over a spike, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in a suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair and a snake eating cake and a skunk in a trunk and a dragon in a wagon and a spike in his bike. If a blubbery whale got a hold of his tail, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in his suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knees and some glue on his shoe playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair and a snake eating cake and a skunk in a trunk and a dragon in a wagon and a spike in his bike and a whale on his tail. If he fell in a hole that was dug by a mole, you would have a giraffe and a half with a rat in his hat looking cute in his suit with a rose on his nose and a bee on his knee and some glue on his shoe and playing toot on a flute with a chair in his hair and a snake eating cake and a skunk in a trunk and a dragon in a wagon, a spike in his bike and a whale on his tail in a hole with a mole. All you see is the rose. But if you brought him a pole to climb out of the hole and the whale left his tail and went off for the mail, and he gave the spiked bike to a scout on a hike, and he left that fat dragon because his wagon was sagging, and he gave his chair to a tired old bear, and he traded the flute to a bird for some fruit, and he told that old snake to go jump in a lake, and a man who bought junk bought the trunk with the skunk, and he gave the rose to a girl he chose, while the bee on his knee flew away with the flea, and he put the shoe with glue on you, and that silly old rat ran away with his hat. Oh, what's going to happen? And he put his suit in the laundry chute, and he shrank another half. What would you have? You would have a giraffe. So that's my favorite book by Shel Silverstein.